Just tell us briefly what you're doing on the island. I know this is a return visit for you. You've been here a number of times before. What have you been doing this time?
This time, I've predominantly aimed myself at inspiring your young children on this fabulous island. So going into your schools, including Laxey and Doon and Sulby School, and playing to the children and inspiring them about music. Not that some of your schools need any inspiration whatsoever. They are the musicianship on this island, I say it every time I'm here, is far beyond anything I would ever meet anywhere else. It's brilliant. But I guess I'm there just to continue that inspiration.
Wonderful. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But let's find out a little bit more about you then. You grew up in Huddersfield, West Yorkshire, which in your words is the home of rugby league and the one-time powerhouse of the textile industry, which actually your father was involved in and now your brother is as well. What are your main early memories? What stands out for you?
Early memories were things like snowdrifts in the house. Yes, I know. I remember my dad shoveling snow from the staircase. Isn't that incredible? But yeah, it happened. Either that, I think he was probably just too cheap to light the fire. I think that's what it was. So yeah, things like that, and being sledged up to school, and snowdrifts, 10 feet high. And I don't. There was a real community feel. Catching the bus everywhere. Never do that now. Never do that. It's such a shame. And the characters that you would meet round and about. Again, people are very closed in, much more suspicious than they used to be. Much more careful. So I think there was a lot of freedom growing up. I remember as a child, we were always relieved when particularly in the summer, when someone maybe got a new washing machine or a tumble dryer, something like that. And it wasn't so much the tumble dryer, the washing machine, but it was the fact it was packed in cardboard, and we could use the cardboard to go grass sliding with. Yes, I know. I've lived a life.
You have.
Yes,
You certainly have.
What a
And you
life.
started playing the flute at the age of 8. And what I love is that your dad started learning at the same time.
He did. We had. I saw a flute player when I was 6 years old. He came to my school. He played. I'd never seen a flute before. It was incredible. And I think that's why I have a passion to go into schools to show people, teachers as well. It's not just about the pupils, but show them what is possible with instruments. And I was 2 years growing, so I could then play the flute. And my dad bought me a flute, brand new flute, £20. But we are talking Huddersfield. They're probably only about 35 now. £20, and we both had lessons together. We had an hour each, and they were 50p an hour. And I just need to tell you this story, which I didn't write down. And the story is that my flute teacher, not only was he a great flute teacher, but I just wanted to be like him. And I think that's what motivated me to practice, because I didn't want to let him down. And after 4 years, he then moved away. He got a scholarship to learn in France. And he then came back to the UK, but we lost touch. It isn't like today where it's so easy to find people on social media. And his family moved away from Huddersfield, and so I lost contact completely. About 6 months ago, we met up for the first time in about 45 years. And it was very, very emotional. He'd stopped being a flute player probably about 35 years ago, not touched his flute, put it away in a drawer. He lives in France now. He came over and we met. We had a fabulous day together, very emotional. And at the end of the day, he handed me his flute. And he said, I no longer play this flute, and it needs to be played, and I can't think of anybody. I know we're welling up in here, aren't we? But it was so emotional because, with every instrument as well, it needs to be played. Otherwise, it's just a piece of furniture. So he handed it over, and it's a big part of my life now. Yeah.
As is music, and the whole point of these programmes is to find out about key pieces of music which really means something to you. What have you chosen as your first track?
Right, it might be a surprise talking about flutes as we have. This is by the Scottish pop group Nazareth, formed in the late 60s. I first heard them in the late 70s. And I saw them on Top of the Pops. And it wouldn't matter if the sound had been down, I would have still bought the record. because they were having such an amazing time on that stage. They weren't geared up like the glam rockers. They just had their status quo tatty jeans on. They didn't care about what they looked like. They cared about having amazing fun on that stage. And this piece, every time I hear it, a big smile across my face because I can see them, the enjoyment and laughter that they had, and it's contagious.